Okay, so let's get right into it. The Indian government has just put a huge new policy in place, and it's going to completely change how you and I use apps like WhatsApp and Telegram. If you're using these apps every day, and let's be honest, who isn't, you absolutely need to know what's going on.
So let's just cut to the chase. The big question on everyone's mind is probably this: could my WhatsApp actually stop working because of this? And the short answer is, yeah, it definitely could. And the situations where that might happen are about to get way more common. We're going to break down exactly what to look out for.
You know, at its heart, this whole thing is really a story with two sides. On one hand, the government's bringing this in to fight a massive wave of cybercrime and digital fraud. But on the other hand, it's going to fundamentally change the way millions of us use our favorite apps day in and day out.
So here's how we're going to break it all down for you. First, we'll look at the sneaky tricks scammers have been using. Then, we'll get into the government's new rule, see exactly how it works, what it means for you, and finally, we'll tackle that huge question: security versus convenience.
All right, first up, to really get why this new rule even exists, you got to understand the problem it's trying to fix. And that problem all starts with a really simple but crazy effective trick that fraudsters have been using to cause all sorts of chaos.
So check this out. Here's how a scammer basically becomes a digital ghost. They get a SIM card, usually with fake documents. They use it just one time to get that OTP to sign up for WhatsApp or Telegram. And then, and this is the key part, they literally just toss the physical SIM card in the trash. From that moment on, they're only using public Wi-Fi and VPNs to hide where they are.
And this, right here, is the heart of the problem. When there's no active SIM card, the phone never connects to a cell tower. That means there's no location to track. For the police, it's a dead end. This lets scammers do things like digital arrests or blackmail people with pretty much zero fear of getting caught. They're effectively invisible.
Okay, so that's the problem. Now, let's look at the government's big solution. It's designed to be a direct counterattack to that scammer's trick we just talked about. And it all comes down to a concept called SIM binding. So what the heck is SIM binding? Well, think of it as a digital leash. It's a security feature that creates a constant, ongoing connection between your WhatsApp account and the actual physical SIM card that's in your phone. This isn't just a one-time check anymore, it's a continuous thing. This slide really shows you how big of a change this is. Think about how it used to work. You got an OTP once when you set it up, and that's it. You could take the SIM out, hop on Wi-Fi, and your WhatsApp worked just fine. But now, totally different story. The app will be constantly checking, hey, is that original SIM card still in here and active? If the answer is no, you're out. No SIM, no service. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of how this is actually going to work in the real world. The whole policy really boils down to two main rules that these messaging apps now have to play by.
So here they are, the new rules of the road. First, and this is a big one, the SIM card you registered with must always be in your phone for the app to work. Simple as that. Take it out, it stops. And second, to stop people from just using their computers to get around this, desktop versions like WhatsApp Web are now going to automatically log you out. This one is going to be a huge change for a lot of people. And yeah, they've put a hard number on it. Your web sessions on your computer will now last a maximum of just 6 hours. Think about that. If you use WhatsApp Web for work all day, you're going to have to pull out your phone and rescan that QR code at least once, maybe even twice every single workday. The days of being logged in for weeks at a time, they're officially over. Now, if this whole idea of SIM binding sounds kind of new and maybe a little drastic, it's worth remembering that it's not totally unfamiliar. This is the exact same idea that our secure banking and UPI apps have been using for years. You know how if you take your SIM out, your banking app immediately logs you out for security? Well, the government is basically just taking that same logic and applying it to messaging apps.
So we've covered the scams and the rules, but what does all of this actually mean for you, for me, for the average person? Well, like any big change, there are definitely some pros and some pretty big cons.
And at the end of the day, this is the central trade-off we're all making. On the security side of things, yeah, it'll be a lot harder for someone to hack your account. It'll be easier for police to trace actual criminals. But the price you pay is inconvenience. You absolutely have to keep that SIM in your phone. Your web sessions are going to be a pain. And if you travel internationally, you're looking at some real headaches.
So who's really going to feel the pinch from this? Well, a few groups come to mind right away. International travelers who swap in a local SIM, they're going to lose access. People who use a tablet or a spare phone just on Wi-Fi, those apps won't work anymore. Professionals who live on WhatsApp Web are going to be constantly logging back in, And of course, NRIs trying to keep their Indian number active from another country are going to find it almost impossible.
All right, let's zoom out for a minute and see how this new policy fits into the bigger global picture. How does what India is doing stack up against what other major countries are doing for digital security?
You know, this comparison is really fascinating. In the US and Europe, the big focus is on data privacy and protecting the user. In China, it's about real name verification, linking your actual identity to your account. India's new rule is taking a totally different path. It's less about your name and more about your physical device and its location, all tied to that little SIM card. It's a very device-focused approach to identity.
And really, this quote from the source material just hits the nail on the head. The policy forces a tough trade-off between cybersecurity and digital convenience. That is the fundamental balancing act at the heart of this entire thing. There's just no easy way around it.
So, it all leaves us with this one big question to think about. We've seen the security benefits, and we've seen the very real daily hassles it's going to cause. So, is giving up all that flexibility and convenience the right price to pay for a safer digital world? That's really the big conversation this new rule has kicked off for every single one of us.